Why is it if someone expects something bad to happen, it happens very quickly, but when they expect something good to happen, it seems like it takes forever? Stay tuned to find out why. And we're back. All right, hon.
Yes.
I asked the question, and I've had this experience myself, where all of a sudden I think something bad is going to happen, and it happens. But then I expect something good to happen, and it doesn't happen. For example, when the kids were younger, see my child climbing up the tree, and I think, oh, she's gonna fall off the tree. Well, she starts falling, I have to go catch her. The bad thing happened. Then, something good, right? Oh, I'm gonna win this raffle at church and I'm gonna get this beautiful thing. And I enter the raffle and I feel so good about it. I'm putting all my positive energy towards it, and then I don't win the raffle. Why?
Well, what church was that?
I don't go to that church anymore.
Maybe it was the church. Anyway, well, there's something called, well, first of all, and I say this a lot, I guess I say it a lot because I want people to really understand this concept, that the world is nothing but energy. We're all made up of energy. Mm-hmm. Which then means that the energy can be, you can have effect on the energy, right? You can manipulate the energy. Anybody can. Mm-hmm. Well, your thoughts are part of this energy world. We're all connected somehow. Well, not somehow, we're all connected. And as Jesus says, thoughts are things. What you put out is what you get. Now that's easier for me to say because people have heard that many times.
Yes.
So I could answer your question that way, but that doesn't really answer your question, correct?
Right.
So why is it then that you expect something terrible to happen, and just like the true psychic that you are, it happens right away? And it normally happens in a very short time, right?
Right.
For many people. And so then they say, the favorite saying is,
I knew it.
and that's what I tell them.
You're a psychic.
Right, you're a born psychic. So if you ever wondered if you're a psychic, every time that you knew something was going to happen, and it did happen, it proved to you that you're a psychic. So you could go start your own psychic business now.
Your own psychic hotline.
Exactly. Right. Anyway,
All joking aside, though.
All joking aside, it goes back to, I'll use this analogy because I think this analogy works. Uh-huh. Have you ever seen, well, you've been to Las Vegas, we've been to Las Vegas many times.
Yes, we have.
Not to gamble, it's for business, okay? Mm-hmm. Just to let you know.
Business conventions.
Uh-huh. I don't think I ever gambled. I never had the time to do it. I wouldn't even know what to do with those machines. Anyway, but maybe next time we go, we'll go do a gambling thing with the machine.
I found a nickel on the floor in a casino. And I happened to be with my husband, but he wasn't my husband at the time. We were just business partners, and another business partner of ours. And both of them said, oh, go play a nickel machine. I did, and I won 35 cents. Okay, go ahead.
You did?
I did. And I stopped gambling. I'm like, I'm not doing it anymore.
Well, my wife knows how to use the machine, so I'll retract.
All I had to do was pull that lever once I put the nickel in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was really simple. But once I got 35 cents back out of finding a nickel and I multiplied it.
That's like 700% right there.
Paid for tax on a drink. I don't know.
You drank?
No. Oh. No, a drink isn't like a soda or a coffee or whatever.
See, when I hear the word drink, I'm thinking like alcohol.
No.
Okay, so let's get back
on topic now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What were we talking about?
We were talking about why it is the negative things seem to happen so quickly when we think them.
Right. I was going to use the analogy of Las Vegas.
Right.
Now, we've been there. You've seen these hotels there, these structures. How do they look?
They're big and beautiful.
Right? Huge,
Yes.
correct?
Uh-huh.
And even when we were there, every time we were going there almost every year,
Right.
or twice a year sometimes. We always saw a new structure going up.
Yes. We did.
How long did it take them to put those structures up, you think?
Maybe a year, 2 years maximum for some
Right.
of them. Right.
So let's go wild and say a year
Okay.
instead of 2 years. We know how huge they were. And when they were doing their work on MGM Grand, when they were expanding it, it took over a year. And they were just expanding it. I don't know if you
Right.
remember that.
I remember.
And we kept thinking, how long will this take? It took about a year just to add to it.
Right.
At least a year. Okay? One time we went back, I think within 6 months, and we noticed one hotel was completely missing.
Yes.
Right? It was just like,
It was leveled. The ground was
Exactly.
just leveled.
now we were there 6 months earlier. How long do you think it took them to tear that down?
Oh, I don't think it took them long at all.
Have you ever seen videos on YouTube where they take these buildings down?
Yes.
How long does it take for them to take the building down?
Minutes.
So you just said that it would take, if we just to go on the wild side, how long to build one of these structures?
A year or two. We said a year.
How long did it take for them to tear them down?
Minutes.
Minutes. You getting the point yet?
Yes, it's easier to take something down.
It's
than the
easier to
negative
destroy
side.
something.
It's easier to destroy something than it is to build it up.
Exactly. Right. It takes a lot of effort to build something. There's a lot of refining details you have to put into it. To tear it down, you don't really care what it looks like because it's been torn down.
Right.
Well, see, how much energy do you think it takes to build something that takes a year to build?
That takes a lot of energy.
Let me ask you this. How much manpower do you think it takes?
Oh, from having a friends who worked on there, friends who did, they took a lot of manpower. They had hundreds of men working at the same time
Now, when you
on
went-
different shifts.
Exactly, right? 24 hours because you're Las
Yes.
Vegas.
Yes, they worked 24 hours.
When you see a video of this building being torn down, how many people do you see there? How many workers do you see?
Maybe 10.
Now, think about that. There are hundreds to build it, only 10 to tear it down.
Yes.
What does that tell you about the amount of effort it takes to build something?
Takes a lot more effort to build something.
How focused do you have to be to build something, you think, based on that?
Very focused. You have to have an eye for detail too.
Right?
Uh-huh.
You have to have a blueprint. You have to follow that blueprint, make sure each room is the way it's supposed to be, each door is the way it's supposed to be. The
And you
floor
have
has
to be
even.
consistently putting things together, otherwise your building is not going to get built in a timely fashion or manner.
Not only that, you have inspectors that come in to make sure that the electrical work is done right, the
The
plumbing
plumbing,
work is done right. All the people come and inspect to make sure the work is done right. Who inspects a demolition,
Maybe one or two people.
right?
Make sure that there isn't anyone around who can get hurt.
Correct?
And the gas is turned off and the water's turned off, yes.
How much effort do you think it takes to tear something down?
Minimal. It doesn't take a whole lot.
Now that I have that analogy, let's look at you expecting something that's bad. How much effort do you think it takes to imagine that?
Not much at all.
Why is
Especially because that energy is already out there in the world. Most people think the bad thing will happen.
Why do you make that statement?
Because I know I'm not the only one who thinks, oh, you shouldn't climb up the stairs that way, you'll fall down. You know, when talking about our kids, or, oh, traffic, oh, it's going to be real bad today. I mean, we just automatically program ourselves to think that way, it seems.
Well,
and we create that energy to begin with. So with it being out there,
Well, remember the one
it's
time,
easier to tap into.
the first time you went with me to the Cayman Islands? Remember that? And my cousin picked us up from the airport.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you recall this. I'm sure you recall it. And then he was driving, and all of a sudden we came to a stop.
Uh-huh.
And then what did he say about the traffic?
He said, oh, this is rush hour. We're going to be here for a while. Now,
Who asked? You asked.
I asked, like, how long? He said, it'll probably take about 5 minutes longer to get home. I said, 5 minutes from here? He said, 5 minutes than it normally takes. I said, oh, really? Because I'm used to rush hour traffic where you come to a stop and you're there for 3 or 4 hours. Total difference of perspective there.
Bingo. And that's why I brought that up, right? That for him, that was some serious traffic and it was holding him back.
Right? Delayed him 5 minutes.
Well, for us, it's like 5 minutes, that's it. You know, we can live with that. Well, same thing here. See, for somebody, their world can be devastated by something that they consider huge. Like my cousin thought a 5 minutes delay was huge for him.
Right.
And he was getting quite upset about that. While for us, it's like, that's really no big deal. You know, we're used to something lasting at least an hour. Well, that's why we have that video about perception or perspective because of that. Because for one person, something's a big deal. For somebody else, it's nothing. So depending on how you perceive what you see or what you're going through, you create this reality of your own that then you expect to happen. Depending on how fearful you are of that, or how much you believe it, how much you buy into what you just created, that's how quickly it's going to happen. Why is it easier for something that's negative to happen? Because, let's put it this way, what percentage of America is wealthy? And when we say wealthy, we're talking about at least, what, $10 million?
I would think it's a very small percentage, maybe 20% or less. That mean being very generous.
It's about 10%.
10%,
Right?
okay.
10%. The other 90%, they're not there. They don't even earn, say, $100,000 a year. They earn less than that a year. Why is that? Because that 90% don't believe that they can earn more than $100,000 a year. They don't think it's possible. So if they don't think that's possible, and they feel that they're struggling, because they say about 90% of the population struggles, right? Then what do you think their reality is? Is it positive or negative?
Negative.
So then, if 90% of people's reality is negative, what are the chances that what you experience or what you will envision is negative, or you run into on a daily basis is negative?
It would be more possible to be negative.
About 90%.
Right.
That's why it's easier to expect something negative.
Got it.
Because just from the makeup of society itself, the greater portion of society already is negative. And then if you follow the news, you follow things on social media, then that just helps confirm for you how bad it is. Right?
Right. Or how bad it's perceived to be.
Yes. Good point. How bad it's perceived to be, the picture they're painting for you.
Right.
And the biggest one is when it comes to relationships. You know, because people, what do they say? Don't make someone make a fool of you, right?
Right.
You're a fool if you let someone take advantage of you. So what do they encourage? They encourage people to walk away from relationships. They encourage people to just go and get divorced and things like that. I'm not saying not to do that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, people have gotten to the point where it's almost like, as soon as something happens, I'm leaving this relationship.
Right. They give up.
Exactly.
They quit.
Because it's such a common thing that occurs in society.
And it's easier to quit than to try to build something and make
but
it work.
But they don't see it as that. Because societies make it seem, they put it to the point where it's like, you know what, you don't have to put up with that. And we're not saying you have to.
Right.
But what we're saying is, or like bullying, right? Now they're trying to curve it a little bit. Or cursing, how about cursing? You know, almost every show there's curse.
Swear words, saying swear
That's right,
words.
swear words, you know? And some people think it's normal, so what do? They're swearing all the time.
Right.
Young kids are swearing. Or they have things with sexual content. So they even have teenagers kissing and getting involved in sexual. Why would you do that? So all of a sudden now teenagers think it's okay and you know it's acceptable. That's why it's much easier to expect negativity.
Because it's being programmed all the time.
All over the place. So here you are. You have the choice of visualizing something positive or visualizing something negative. And if you're given the choice, you'd want to visualize the positive thing, and then you try.
But it's much easier to visualize that negative thing.
Get it?
Because we see so much negative.
Exactly. and you get more confirmation for the negative.
Right.
You know, leave the
Right.
relationship, you know, fire the curse word.
Yeah, go take some drugs,
Exactly.
go smoke, go do things you shouldn't do or that, are not recommended you do.
That's correct. It's all over the place. So of course you think, okay, that's it. That's okay to do because you get so much confirmation, and there's enough energy behind it for you to tap into. So remember, we're all energy. So energy is already flowing out there. You you lower your frequency to that, and then that's it. And immediately, within a short time, it manifests because it's so much easier. It's like tearing down a building. You don't have to put a lot of effort into it because the energy is already out there. Now, you want to get something positive. How much confirmation do you have that you're going to be a multimillionaire?
That's not a whole lot. You normally have to join those support groups that try to build you up to get you to really believe you can do that.
Exactly, because normal people laugh at you, right?
Right, they do.
Or you say, I'm going to raise my kids by myself. And they'll be like, you're out of your mind, you can't do it. You need somebody else to support you to make that.
Yeah.
Because that's what society tells you. Now you have to fight against that, right?
Right.
So you see, it's also...
So it makes it harder to build things up,
It's
to
much
be able
harder.
to get the positive.
That's correct.
Okay.
Because you're fighting against the negativity. And you don't get the confirmation that would make it easier for you. So, of course, it takes longer to happen depending on how much belief you have in yourself and in that, whatever that is that you want to accomplish for that to happen. And the less belief you have in it, then, of course, the lesser the possibility that it will occur. Because the energy is not there. You're not at that frequency to match it, to make it happen.
Got it.
Does that help you?
Yes, thank you very much for answering the questions.
Okay.
Appreciate it. See you soon.
Remember to subscribe and like this video. Join the Facebook group 190 Vision to connect with others on the same journey. Get help by visiting our website 190vision.com. Support the 190 Vision mission by clicking on the donate button, which is at the bottom of each page of our website.